Everybody wants to be happy, and nobody wants to suffer. You wouldn't be here today if somewhere deep inside you didn't feel, I'm not fully at peace, not entirely at rest, not completely content. Nor would you be here today if there weren't something within you that deeply longed for, not passing contentment, not a moment of peacefulness, but rather unbroken, complete happiness, fulfillment, or peace. So that's the first part. One has to admit to oneself that it is so. If you don't admit to yourself, I am not completely happy, I do suffer, then you haven't quite reckoned with what the Buddha would term the first noble truth. And that is evident, I think, in any great spiritual or religious tradition in some form or another. From here, we come to the first plot twist. For in order to be completely and abidingly happy, the teaching would say, in fact, our experience will confirm, I must know who I am. I must know what I essentially am. Therefore, it is said that self-knowledge is not only necessary, but ultimately sufficient for abiding happiness. So if I want to be happy or free or peace itself, I must actually know something fundamental, but not about the world, rather about what I am. The next plot twist. Something must, a moment of humility, of self-reckoning comes forthwith. And I say with Socrates, but I do not know what I am. I know that I do not know what I am. I don't know completely. I know that I exist. I know that I'm aware, but I don't know completely what I am. There's a mystery at the heart of my being. I thought I knew what I was, but maybe I don't know. The question opens up. That I call the Socratic moment. That can take a while to really grasp that I thought I knew, but I actually don't. At that point, there can be the beginning of an inquiry. So, the teaching then says is that once it's clear that the fundamental question is, who am I or what am I? And once it's furthermore clear that I don't know the answer to the question, then it simply says that there is a very simple answer. And that is that one has to turn inward. As Zen Master Dogen says, take the backward step and turn the light within. That sounds easy enough. But there's a predicament. And the predicament is that, this is a sort of a long story to tell, and I won't tell it here. There is a predisposition toward turning outward. And I'll unpack that in just a moment. So it's as if we have the cards stacked against us from the first. I need to know who I am. Why? Because I wish to be abidingly happy. Good. How do I do so? I need to turn inward in order to know what I am. And yet I find when I sit for a moment or when I seek to contemplate that everything turns outward. By outwardness, Advaita Vedanta in particular will refer to objects. So let me give some examples. I will turn outward toward the world, whatever the world seems to be. That is, I will be interested in success. I'll be interested in sense pleasures. I'll be interested in sex. I'll be interested in status. I'll be interested in social reform. I'll be interested in justice. Technically speaking, these are all objects, worldly objects. These are the outward going tendency of the mind at work. There are other such objects I will be interested in and preoccupied with the body, with health span, with lifespan, with longevity, with the optimization of health, with sickness, etc., with physical pains. Those are other objects. So now the mind's going outward again. Remember, I wanted to know myself, and I seem to be preoccupied with the world and with the body. Then there are times when I'm occupied with the mind, with mental states or psychological states. These turn out to be more objects, thoughts and feelings specifically. And it turns out that so long as I'm preoccupied with the world, bodies, and mind, just so long will it seem as if I can't know myself. At which point, someone might say, what is there that's left? What is there that's left? You're telling me to take away the world, worldly objects, to take away the body or bodies, and you're telling me to take away the mind. What is left? Exactly. That is the question. But ask it earnestly. What is it that actually is left? This teaching says what you discover is what is here termed awareness. That awareness is left. Awareness naked. Awareness without any relationship with objects. Awareness self-shining, which is the final plot twist. And you are that awareness. And that awareness is abidingly happy.